Game day for the Buffalo Sabres. They're going to get the second round underway and play host to Montreal. Pregame tonight is at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. And a note going forward in these playoffs, no more local television broadcasts. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, it's going to be right here on WGR. But you can sync up the radio call and the game on TV by first downloading the Odyssey app, finding WGR, and then pause the game on your TV at puck drop and then press play once you hear Dan and Rob with the face-off on the app. And for television purposes, the game is on TNT and HBO. One lineup note for the Sabres tonight to keep an eye on. Lindy Ruff did say Sam Carrick is a possibility to play after returning to practice earlier this week. And of course, with round 2 underway, WGR's round 2 Sabres playoff posters are ready for you. Stop by any Paula's Donut location and grab the We Love River Hockey edition while supplies last. Hang it with pride at home, work, or take it with you to the game or watch parties. Paula's Donuts made with love on Sheridan in Tonawanda, in the Premier Plaza in Wheelingsville, Southgate Plaza in West Seneca, and Seneca Street in Larkinville. And then there is just one other game on the schedule tonight, 9:30. It's game 2 of Vegas Anaheim, and the Golden Knights do lead that series 1-0. And then in baseball, Bison's on the road versus the Iron Pigs at 6:45. While the majors, the Jays already in action. They are down against Tampa 2-0 in the 8th. The Yankees host the Rangers just after 7. Then at 9:20, the Mets are at Colorado. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Mike, what day is it, Mike?
And the Bulldog.
Hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
On WGR.
Hump day!
Sports Radio 550.
I know, and we have a game tonight and special guest. I do have a fantasy football take that's burning a hole in my pocket. Should I wait? You're going to make me wait?
I'm going to leave. I'm gonna walk out.
All right, I'll wait. It's fine. We're a team. Our first guest today made regular appearances on this show more than 20 years ago, but then he got smart. Ron MacLean, it is such a delight to have you back on after all these years. How's life?
It's good, Mike and Bulldog. And I'll tell you one thing, if you've got a fantasy update that you need to get out, you go ahead. But I'll tell you, David Amber's in the building tonight. And DA, as we call him, is kind of for hockey poolsters. Good luck, because he was in Denver for his one and only appearance, the crazy game with 15 goals, game 1. And the last time there were 15 goals in a playoff game was Edmonton-Calgary, and he was in the building hosting that one. So I have a feeling we might see a few goals tonight with David. And Elliot Friedman's been dispatched, and Chris Cuthbert, Craig Simpson, Kyle Bukowskis. We've got the whole army down there.
We had a pretty little 15-goal game here not that long ago in March. Sabres 8, Lightning 7. And
I remember, yeah.
That's just sort of maybe one milepost along the way to this incredible story the Sabres have been this year. We've asked so many of our favorite hockey guests who, in your case as well, I mean, we go back a long time since we've spoken, even E.J. Raddick and other people, just to find out how surprised they are that this happened this year. Where would you put yourself on that scale?
Well, I'm just so proud of Lindy Ruff, and I might have been in that church that thought, it's passed a few of these guys by, Joel Quenneville and John Tortorella and Rick Bowness, and the list goes on. It's just amazing how guys with all that wisdom, you remembered after Lindy left Buffalo, Jim Nill kind of surprised us. He took over Dallas for Joe Nieuwendyk, and his first hire was Lindy Ruff, and Lindy was a part of the Florida run in '96, and I'm from Alberta, he's from Alberta, and I should never doubt Lindy, but it was by mid-season, obviously, with the change at management level, you wondered. And he just found a way to bring out the best. I give all the credit to Darlene and the players, of course. Rasmus's story is otherworldly. So it's a surprise, and it's a really nice surprise. They're a joy to watch. You know what the vibe will be like this evening. It's good that it's Montreal coming in for round 2. So, yeah, the world is good, and it is a surprise.
Yeah, it's so good, Ron, that it's turned for Lindy. I mean, when he got the job a couple summers ago, things were so bad here. My most prominent thought about him coming back was, I don't want like the stench of the organization right now to get on him. Like he's fondly remembered, even revered here for his time as a player and a coach the first time around. And man, for a season and a couple of months, it seemed like maybe that was happening. There were rumblings when the news started to leak out about Adams getting replaced, that Lindy might get bumped upstairs or something. And, I mean, thank God none of that happened, because now they've got a super experienced, Stanley Cup Finals not winning coach behind the bench with a pretty unproven team, and it seems like a really good fit now.
And he's, a perfect guy because 79 he was drafted, I think, by Buffalo. He was a forward and a defenseman, so he can talk to either end of the bench. He was a captain. He took over for Gilles Perreault, so he's done it all. And that calm, he can get excited like Joel Quenneville. Quenneville's more excitable, but Lindy can crank it up a notch as well. And yeah, I think it's always important to have somebody that takes the attention. I remember when PK Subban was in Montreal, he took all the media glare. It allowed Carey Price to just do his thing. And Lindy's got a calm way of being there for the media, but I think it's just so important, and he's done just a wonderful job. Now, when I go back to the 99 run and I think about what he had there, this team reminds me a little bit of that. I mean, Tage Thompson, one of the highlights of the year had to be when Dan Dunleavy was calling those 5 one-timers. Remember the power play? And
Yes.
It's like the old joke where the manager goes out to the mound to tell the pitcher he's coming out, and the pitcher says, "Why? I'm not tired." He's, "No, but your outfielders are." I think Rasmus Dahlin was weary of feathering passes over to Tage Thompson. But, that team had Chatan was the 40-goal guy in 99. But they were a little bit like Buffalo. They just seemed to have a spirit about them, a blue-collar work ethic that was fabulous. And, Pekka shut down Modano. You didn't see no goals out of Mike Modano in that Stanley Cup final run. So they seem to have a lot of the same thing going on.
With Ron MacLean, of course, we had 06 and 07 where the Sabres really threatened. I mean, they won a President's Trophy and had a look at a first cup. But you mentioned David Amber and your colleagues being in the building tonight. I think of 99, 98 and 99, in fact. One thing I think of is yourself and Don and everybody being here, and CBC, just like with the Leafs in the conference finals and all that. Do the crowds, I mean, Buffalo, and you've been around this market for decades, so I'm sure it comes as no surprise, but I feel like a lot of Sabres fans are tapping back into the late 90s, even 06, and even possibly earlier years than that, with what an incredible scene this is when it's when it's cooking.
Well, one of the things I remember is in 1975 when Bernie Parent and the Philadelphia Flyers won it. They won it in Buffalo, Game 6. Parent had a 2-0 shutout, and at the end of the game, the fans were all chanting "Bernie, Bernie." And it wasn't like derision. They were actually saluting Parent on an unbelievable performance. And as you know, a lot of the fans trickle over the border. So half the guys I play Wednesday night beer league hockey with go to the games in Buffalo. They have season seats. We were thinking, last Sunday afternoon, we were sitting here thinking, good God, if Montreal loses in Tampa tonight, no Canadian teams, we're going to adopt Buffalo right away. So they will be our story. And yeah, that tradition from the French Connection and their connection to the Montreal Canadiens, right on through the years, whether it was Teddy Nolan, whether it was the lunch pail, which was Grapes' approach in Boston, and certainly was Rob Ray, Brad Mays, and Buffalo's approach in Buffalo. It's a super spirit, and there's the Moncton Wildcats of the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League just won a big Game 7 last night in their Quebec semifinals, so they'll face Chicoutimi in the final. Their owner is a guy named Robert Irving, He's big in oil and everything down in the Maritimes of Canada. And he has a saying, the best fertilizer a farmer can have is his own footprints on the land. And that's why we have all these boots on the ground in Buffalo. That's going to make it a great show for Hockey Night for us.
What do you make of Montreal's place in all of this? Obviously, with Canada being behind them, I would imagine. How about them, their role in all of this from our standpoint, Ron?
Well, goaltending. They have been getting from Dobish what Ken Dryden gave Montreal, in 1971. The last time a rookie Canadian goaltender started on the road at Game 7, it was Dryden in 1971 against Boston, of course. And Dobish went into Tampa and beat Vasilevsky. So that was a huge story. It's like the Buffalo Sabres when they won, because we just had the lottery yesterday, when they won the spin of the wheel and got Gilles Perreault. That was big, but almost as big was a trade that they made. Boston Bruins couldn't protect Tom Webster in the expansion draft, and the Detroit Red Wings coveted Tom Webster. So Detroit came to Punch Imlach and said, you draft Tom Webster off Boston's unprotected list, and then we will trade you Roger Crozier. And that was an enormous moment in Buffalo Sabres early history. And Montreal right now is loaded in net. And obviously Buffalo's been able to play two goaltenders here. But I think that's what you're going to be dealing with, is that tall, lanky rookie goalie kind of shades of 71.
Ron, one thing I think about when I reflect on our visits with you more than 20 years ago now, there was a certain conversation where for some reason we were talking about the Penguins. Maybe it was the Crosby lottery or something else that they had done, and the Sabres might have dipped a little bit. And I might have put a question to you that was sort of like, maybe I was a little bit jealous, or anyway, some sort of context between the Sabres history and the Penguins history. And you were like right there with, oh my God, it's not even close. The appreciation you described for the history of the Sabres and the Buffalo hockey market.
I remember this.
Was just like really powerful. And, we're back, right? I mean, we're back.
Two things have happened. We have Joel Darling. You know Joel.
Right.
He's obviously from, I don't know if he's Lockport, but he's that area. And he's a key driver of our show at Hockey Night in Canada. He's responsible for all our special events, and in particular that one we call Hockey Day in Canada. Once a year we go somewhere. This year was Moncton. Last year was Canmore. And Joel, his dad, obviously is Ted, and his Joel's children, have been a big part of Rogers Hometown Hockey and Hockey Night in Canada shows that we do. So I kind of, by osmosis, we live across the street from one another, almost in Oakville, Ontario. We play at the same little 9-hole golf course in Oakville. That's one thing. The other thing that happened is, Joe Crozier, the late Joe Crozier, who was kind of Don's favorite coach. Don did play a little bit for Punch, but he played for Joe Crozier, and he thought the world of Joe, and he learned a lot of how Don Cherry coached was based on how Joe Crozier coached in Rochester. Joe invited me to come down one year to do 4 times on the Jumbotron. At the intermission, I would go on the Jumbotron and interview. I remember, like, mid-season, I had Don come down and do it. I said, the Sabres seem to have found their footing. He said, of course they found their footing. Hauschig was horseshit first half of the year. And he said this right in front of the full crowd. I'm sorry to swear, but...
Yeah, we just had to bleep Ron MacLean, everybody.
That's right.
You're going to have volume. You're going to have one more of those, you're going to have volume.
Won't be allowed on my own show tonight, but it's nice to be on yours. Anyway, that I brought in Doug Favell, brought in Ted Kennedy, imagine, who was in charge of security at Fort Erie Racetrack, and we would do those. And then after the game, or after that little show, I would go over to Mother's, and we would all be together, and I would hear, I can tell you, conversations with Danny Gare. Obviously, Daryl Shannon's a dear friend out of that. He was incredible to talk hockey with, and it's its own, we have Saskatchewan. That's our version of what Buffalo is to the National Hockey. We wish we had a team there in Saskatchewan, but they have a football team, the Regina Rough Riders, that are on par with the Green Bays and the Buffaloes. As you just don't have magic without them.
I need one of these hockey days in Canada to be like in Oakville. My daughter plays in St. Catharines. We're up there constantly. She'll be in Brantford playing this weekend.
I'd like it in Buffalo. We've often pitched the idea. Can we? It's same with Rogers Hometown Hockey. We wish that we could go. when we did that show, we traipsed around Canada for 8 years. We hit over 160 communities. I never got to Flin Flon. That was really high on the bucket list. Never got to Rouen-Noranda. That was, or Trois-Rivières. Those were the Quebec stops we wished we had, but definitely felt it would have been important to get into Buffalo. Dick Enberg grew up in Detroit area, and there's a huge history over there. They call it Hockey Town. Buffalo, there's an enormous history for us in Western New York. So it would be good to do the Hockey Day show. And Joel, if anybody's going to make it happen, it'll be Joel.
Well, now we've just proven quintessentially that we know the anthem here.
Yes, which was magic. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a magical moment. The other day in Carolina, they had Seth Jarvis's friends from Winnipeg did the Hurricane siren before the game. I would include Kirby Dach after he booted around the first game in the Tampa series. Was game 2, but he came home for game 3 at Bell Center, and the crowd gave him a standing ovation as he hit the ice. The people, that there's more goodwill. I know it can turn ugly, and it should when fans are upset, but there is more goodwill comes from a gathering at a stadium than any church, any school, just anything you could. It's just so incredible to see what that moment meant as we go through some tense times, to see that, Canada-U.S. thing being so celebrated. That was a great moment.
So Ron, Bulldog and I are in there. He bought tickets and invited me. So we're down there 7 rows behind the Boston bench. And before the Star-Spangled Banner is even like half over, we're both getting like all these, but you were just on Sportsnet.
Right.
Like we're right there in
People
shot.
picked us out. Yeah.
Were you singing the right
No,
word?
No. Well, Mike could barely talk. He barely made it through the show. It was the only show front of last week that he was there for. He skipped Monday and Wednesday, but wanted to be there Tuesday. Like he said, I got these tickets. I'd never been to a series clinching game, so I really wanted to take the opportunity. And Ron, honest to God, I was standing there. I'd only been to one other game this year, and I might have missed the anthems. And I'm standing there thinking, when did we start doing this? I didn't realize her mic had cut out. I thought we were just doing the thing that the Vancouver guy used to do or something. Yeah, and my mind was spinning like, I'm on the radio 6 days a week. How do I not know we're singing the Canadian anthem like this? Like, I didn't know it was a new thing that just happened because of the technical difficulties.
So good.
So I never sang because I've never sung, and I thought, like, I don't want to just jump on a bandwagon. How did I miss that we do this now? Turns out we don't. We just did it then. And,
right.
And probably forevermore now. I would expect.
We'll see tonight.
I'm expecting it to get belted out, even though they're playing a Canadian team.
Yeah.
I remember Glenn Sather once cut the cord down in Los Angeles because Gloria Loring, who was married to Alan Thicke, they were 2 great celebrities from Canada. And, yeah, he knew that was kind of like the Star-Spangled – God Bless America, I should say, with Kate Smith was a thing back in the mid-'70s.
So what did he do? Gloria Loring, Days of Our Lives. What did he do?
Yes. He went cut the cable. Glenn left the bench and snuck under the stairs at the old Great Western Forum in Los Angeles and cut the cable to her microphone just so she wouldn't be able to get the crowd going in Los Angeles. But karma is,
Wow.
they had the miracle in Manchester happened to the Oilers. That's right.
Not twice in 10 minutes, Ron.
Daryl Evans.
What's happening here?
That's right. Well, this is just a great thrill. Even that you mentioned Enberg, who I put like right there with you on the list. He was on our show once, and he was broadcasting for the Padres at the time. They were in Milwaukee, and our producer got us Dick Enberg. And Bulldog, remember this? Like he was sort of 10 minutes into it. He was like, bad news, I got to go. The bus is leaving.
The bus. Right.
So, I had to believe him. I had to accept that. But at least we had 10 minutes with Enberg.
Well, I'm not at all putting myself in that category, but I will say I kind of looked up to Dick for the reason that he said he grew up listening to Foster Hewitt. That was his hero, the Hockey Night in Canada guy. He would always, not always, but almost always mention that on the U.S. Thanksgiving broadcast at Pontiac. So it was a special connection that he had to our show that I vicariously felt good about.
Well, if ever this Hockey Day in Canada comes back and it's not a 10-hour flight and an 8-hour sled ride, I would love to go.
Yeah, right.
I would love to do it, and maybe we'll bump into you at a 9-holer or somewhere up in southern Ontario this summer. Would be wonderful.
Let's hook up at the Stanley Cup Final. Don't tell Montreal fans I said that. But
Okay, right.
I won't.
Sounds like a plan.
You've already been, bumped because of the S word. So I don't think anybody's hearing any of this.
Well, the good thing is all the hosts are down in Buffalo, so they can't replace me tonight.
Ron, thank you so much for saying yes to this.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. See you on the trail.
Real treat.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Ron MacLean. What was your favorite part of that conversation?
My favorite part was that I resisted the temptation to apologize yet again for accosting him in the basement bar of Massey Hall at a Wilco show. I don't know, like probably a year or so after we had stopped doing the regular visits, like 05, 06 maybe. My wife got me for my birthday really great seats at Massey Hall for Wilco, and we go downstairs to get a drink, and there's Ron MacLean, and I fanboyed. I mean, I don't think I yelled, "Oh my God, it's Ron MacLean" or anything, so that everybody knew Ron MacLean was there. But I just had to go say hi and shake his hand and introduce myself and like say, "Hey." I don't think at that point, maybe we'd already done an event with him, like the Sabre alumni wine thing or something. But I feel like that's the first time I ever shook his hand. Was in the basement of Massey Hall at a Wilco show.
Not a bad spot.
No, pretty good spot. But I remember, I doubt he would. He's such a gracious guy. I think I brought it up to him before, and he always plays it off. But I know, the look in someone's eye when you approach them and you're overwhelming them. That was him. Like in that moment, because I was just so excited to see him, and I'm sure my eyes were just full of excitement, and I probably was a lot. Is what I'd say. I was a lot.
Well, you're big.
Full Bulldog dose in the basement. Very tight confines. Yeah. Anyway. Wow.
I know the look
treat.
because I've given it that it is when you want the person to stop.
Yeah.
And you don't just like walk away from them.
Right.
That's rude.
But you're just kind of like.
The look is, are we on today? Are we back? The look is this.
Yeah.
You just move your eyes back and forth. Like the person's talking to you,
right,
but you're looking away from them.
Is there someone coming that can save me that I have that's going to come in here and stop this person from continuing to just
Well, in a real life common sense way, when say you're at a bar and you're trying to meet somebody and they're just looking past you, that usually you can get the hint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not every time does the person get the hint. So you're sort of looking around and.
You know how I am. I can be self-conscious about that sort of stuff, and I probably am way hard on myself about it. I'm sure it was, tolerable, but I just remember just being so excited to see him there.
This was exciting too, and what a day, what a night. Game 1, second round. Pregame at 6, Paul Hamilton. We've got lots of audio for you. Might even drop 1 or 2 interviews in before we even get to 6 o'clock. We'll see how the day goes. Ross Tucker wants to be on, so of course we obliged Ross, and he wants to talk about why overtime in hockey doesn't start immediately after the third period.
He's been on that on the social media quite a bit,
which is an interesting question because I've never really thought about how much of a drag it would be, like television-wise, that there's going to be probably, 18 minutes between the end of the third period, which we're all riveted, and then the start of the overtime. And then that could happen over and over. So I like this question from Ross. Sal's been writing up bills by position groups, and we have been remiss in not catching up with Sal here yet this week. So we'll talk to Sal at 4:30. And then again, Ross is at 4. And then again, 6 o'clock for Sabres Canadians. I spent an hour or so, maybe longer, digging up Sabres Canadians playoff stats because I didn't know any other way to find it. Maybe StatHead would have been this, but I think our account is mostly football. I didn't even try. Okay. I just did it myself, and so had some fun with that. Some surprising and fun names.
Playoff history between the Sabres and the Canadiens. We're talking here
7 series.
Uh-huh.
Number 8 starting tonight. I doubt there's anybody. There can't be anybody on the ice tonight that's ever appeared in a.
No, it's
Sabres Canadian series.
98's the last one, so yeah, no way.
The Sabres have 3 players who have played against Montreal in the playoffs. Tuck, Zucker, Stanley. The Sabres report. That's in their game notes today.
Okay.
But not as Sabres, of course. So all new names starting tonight in terms of the rivalry. the playoff rivalry.
Stanley would have been in the bubble probably with Winnipeg the year Montreal made it to the final, I'm going to guess.
Okay.
Because that was that Canadian division, right? So that because otherwise that's East-West, and that would never make sense. But, yeah, it's got to be that. And,
you only ever played for Winnipeg.
Right. And
before this.
Is Tuck's maybe – what is Tuck? Was he with Vegas for that? How did they see Montreal?
Had to be.
Yeah. All right.
I'll look that up.
All right.
I haven't done enough today.
Hey, listen, I can pitch in.
Tuck played for Minnesota as a rookie.
Okay.
But not in the playoffs.
And that's the same East-West problem anyway.
Not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So did Vegas play Montreal that same year that Montreal went to the finals?
I'm thinking that has to be it. I
don't know.
I can't imagine where else it would be.
We will open up the phone lines now at 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog pregame 6 o'clock, game 1. Sabres, Canadians downtown tonight. This is WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfel, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
give Belknap a ring.
He spins around, looking for a trailer, dumps it in. Holzinger rolling around, takes a shot. Sanderson scores! The Sandman cashes his second of the game. He does it in overtime. The Montreal streak comes to an end. 14 consecutive victories in OT. And the Buffalo Sabres do it early in the first overtime period and win game 1.
Bravo. Rick Jenneret. Jeff Sanderson. He already said it. 1998, second round. So tonight, game 1. Sanderson in overtime. I'd forgotten about that streak.
They had won 14 consecutive playoff overtime games.
It's all they did in 93.
Yeah, that's right.
En route to the Cup was win overtime games.
3 of them against the Sabres, yeah.
Yep. And so there must have been some other ones, and that ended there. And then the Sabres also beat them in overtime in game 3 of that series en route to a sweep. Let's see my little spreadsheet from today, my handiwork. Jeff Sanderson.
Yep.
3 goals for the Sabres against the Canadiens in his playoff career. And he had 2 in that game, Rick said.
All right.
There must be one other one.
In that series, I would imagine. I don't think he would have been here for more than one series against Montreal. No, right.
Otherwise, he was on the team in 1993, and he was not.
Right. Yeah, that didn't happen. Right.
So I had so much fun doing this today. This is my happy place, like digging up these stats.
Yes.
It's one thing about the world that depresses me is that now you don't have to do this anymore because you can just push a button and there's all the answers. They don't have to be right, but my work doesn't have to be right. The all-time leader in goals for the Sabres against the Canadiens in the playoffs is René Robert. He had 7. So you have 2 series there only, 73-75. He didn't make it to 82.
Right.
He wasn't on the team anymore. 5 Sabres have 5 goals against the Canadiens, and I love this list. It's not, super esoteric or anything, but just like, okay, Gilbert, Martin had 7, Gilbert, leading scorer for the Sabres ever against the Canadiens in the playoffs with 16 points, 5 goals. Martin, sure, yep, right, 5. Craig Ramsey on those teams, and then into the 80s as well, 5 goals in the playoffs for Buffalo against Montreal. 2 more, who did I say? Perreault, Martin, Ramsey. 2 others. Dale Hawerchuk, who is second in Sabres history in points against the Canadiens in the playoffs with 14. That's at the most. That's 3 series.
Right,
probably.
yeah, right. Is it 90, 91, and 93?
Yes.
Okay.
And the 5th name is Rick Vive. I just love that.
Right.
The same years. 5 goals for the Sabres in the playoffs against Montreal. 4 for Dave Andrechuk. 4 for Matt Barnaby. 3 in one game.
Right.
In 98.
Mother's Day.
And that's the 4s. The 3s are Sanderson. Ken Sutton had 3 playoff goals for the Sabres against the Canadiens. Benoit Hogue had 3. Grant Ledyard had 3. Don Luce, Jim Lorentz, Donald Audette, and Doug Bodger. Those are the 3s. May somebody new join that list tonight with 3 of their own.
I wouldn't have guessed that Ken Sutton had 3 playoff goals, period, let alone 3 playoff goals against Montreal. But,
it's true.
Okay, I believe you.
According to my records.
So where is Danny?
2.
2. Wow. The one to win game 1 in 75 and only 1 other. Wow.
Yep.
Tough one.
Also, 2, Mike Ramsey, Jim Schoenfeld, Tony Tanti, Michael Pekka, and those are the 2s.
Pekka had the game winner in overtime in that game 3 in 98 we just referenced.
Yep.
That was him off the bar.
There's a 1 who also scored for Montreal against the Sabres in the playoffs. There's only 1 player.
I don't want to cheat. I saw this. I liked this question a lot, and I thought of one guy that I think ended up being traded for the guy that is the answer. Right?
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
Kevin Haller scored a goal for each of these franchises against the other in the playoffs. You're thinking of Peter Svoboda.
Right, who was traded for Haller, and like they would have crossed over. I think he would have played against the Sabres at least once, if not twice, and then against them in maybe 93.
He had 5 assists for Montreal in playoff games against Buffalo before being traded. You know the name, if you told me this, asked me this question, who would have scored a goal for both teams in the rivalry, I would have guessed Yvan Lambert. And he had 4 for the Canadiens against the Sabres in the playoffs, but he did not score for Buffalo against Montreal in the playoffs. You know who did? Constantly, Stéphane Richer.
The number of goals, 10?
10. And a friend of mine, Jeff, added that he had 3 for Jersey.
Yeah.
In 94.
I mean, I remember him being really annoying. Richer is involved in a moment that I think solidified Phil Housley's history as a Sabre. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's an all-time great player, all-time great American player, just a great player, Phil Housley. But he had a reputation. He rolled in here wearing number 6, following Jim Schoenfeld, and like we talked about this with John Shannon yesterday, right? The big defenseman who, or was it someone else? I don't remember. I know it came up yesterday about Owen Power. Having that mean guy, and so here's Housley. He's like the antithesis of that. He's a guy that's going to score 100 points for you, maybe on the blue line, but he ain't hitting anybody. He's not tough. And there's a Stéphane Richer goal for Montreal against the Sabres where he lifts his leg. And like that, there are people, when I started this story, I don't want to overdo it here, but definitely there are people that were listening going, I know what he's about to say.
Me too.
I remember him, right? I remember him lifting that leg. And it's like, you never get forgiven for that. Just what are you doing? You're screening the goalie and you're letting the shot go by, dude. So Richer is the guy behind that shot.
This is one of those tweets. Literally everyone, we will never forgive you. Right. The Sabres, let's make him coach.
Right.
Yes. Really in touch with
the
fan base and its history there, but maybe a little bit unfair.
But Richer, 10 goals. I mean, that completely there's guys that you remember that I do this, that I think were more of a problem, like more in my hair, and then I look at the set, I go, I guess I got that wrong. He didn't score all these. Richer, that like it's more than I thought. 10 goals. I mean, good God, man.
Richer 10, Lafleur 9, Courtnall 8. Russ Courtnall. Cornway 7. 6 for Lemaire. 6 for Dom Foose. 6 for Brent Gilchrist. 6, really? Was that that many? Yeah. Those were high-scoring series. 91 for 1 anyway. It was a high-scoring series. So, fun times. How do you feel about tonight?
Weirdly not real nervous at all, really. I don't know if it's just because it's only game 1. I mean, obviously you don't want to fall behind, and especially when you're starting at home. But I don't know. I don't have the angsty anxiety that is so familiar. I'm just I'm eager for the game to get here. I mean, I can't wait to sit down and watch it. But I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not wound up, I guess. Am I failing everyone by not? I don't know. I just feel like bring it on. Like, let's go. We're in the second round. It's gonna be tight, And a part of it, I think, is for me, and I think I alluded to this a little bit. Like Boston, to me, you had to beat Boston. Had maybe even that strong, but like this year is such a magic carpet ride. You win the division. For what it's worth, for me anyway, you get the opponent that I think was most desirable. You gotta, and you get up 3-1. You gotta close that out. That started to be pressure to me. This, I don't want to say this feels like found money. I want them to keep going, and it should get harder now. The fact that it gets harder now sort of lessens the urgency that you gotta come through. To me, like these teams are gonna play, and it's gonna be close. And I think we should get ready for more than one overtime game. I just think it's gonna be a really tight, even, competitive series. And I think if you go in knowing that, believing that, it sort of decreases the amount of angst you feel, because I feel like I'm prepared to accept whatever comes. Like I don't. It's not say I don't want. Obviously I want them to win. There's pressure, but it's just different now. I feel like, because Boston, it just would have felt very flat after the year they had to not get out of the first round, and they did. And again, I want to avoid, this is house money now, but I just don't feel like it'll be as much of a letdown if they get beat here.
It's getting out of the first round is important, because if you don't, it's another year of not getting out of the first round, and you just put it on the pile of
and it's another
19 years.
Right, of not winning a round, right, instead of just not getting to the playoffs. Right.
Big. I feel largely the same. I was relaxed about the Boston series until it was 3-1. And then I felt like, all right, you have to close this out.
Right.
And then Game 5 was, unsettling, because here's your chance, and you're getting so many looks at it, and ultimately you get stoned and have to go to Boston. The Sabres do the job in Boston. So I feel great. The smile's not coming off my face before, the first bad call.
Right.
Tonight.
Right.
Then we can get back into our chairs and complain about the refs.
Right. The first lead that you don't have, right? The first time you're trailing, whatever. Like the tension will come back. I'm not doubting that. Just going in right now, I just feel like my excitement about being in the second round, the pressure you might feel as a fan to hope that your team is going to come through, whatever anxiety you've got.
No doubt fans are getting ready to get down there. 7 o'clock, not 7:30, for this series as we get going. Game 1 tonight. We've got lots of player sound, including Zack Benson. We'll squeeze in a few minutes of Zack Benson here after a break. Ross Tucker, Sal Capaccio next hour. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Game 1, pregame 6 o'clock. This is WGR. One of the things they ask me from Awaken 180 to pass along to you is, as I've been talking about fairly often,
so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
To help you get ready for Game 1, and we have a lot more of this later on, Paul Hamilton in the Sabre locker room earlier with Zack Benson.
Hey, Zach, I know you're not from Eastern Canada, but you're from Western Canada, but still, this is the Montreal Canadiens. Is there a little extra juice to this series being a Canadian kid to play the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, any Canadian kid dreams of playing against the Habs, regular season or playoffs, but I think playoffs just intensifies it that much more. And I know this stadium's going to be electric, and the Bell Center's going to be electric, so it's going to be a pretty cool series.
Hey, Zach, I was curious what you're able to gain from playing against the Habs this year and knowing this kind of style of play that they play and how many other maybe rabble-rousers they've got on their team as well to kind of deal with.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously a good squad. Their top line's really good. They got a few mobile defensemen that are threats, and something that we're going to be watching out for. And yeah, they got a couple guys that like to play on the edge, and I think it's going to be a fun series that way. And we know what to expect from them, and we're going to try and play our game to the best as we can.
Hey, Zach. I don't know to what extent growing up in BC, at the size that you play at, watching Brendan Gallagher, if that had any influence on you as a younger player. And so if it did, what was that influence, or how did you kind of look at him, and did you model your game after him to any extent, and to face him now in a playoff series, what that would mean to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I remember as a young kid going to the rink and watching a few of those guys skate in the summer, and obviously I love the way he played, love the way he plays still, and obviously he's a guy that likes to get under other teams' skin. Just the way he plays a hard-nosed style, and good on the forecheck, can make plays, so definitely a guy that I looked up to growing up.
Zach, I asked Lindy if there's something he counsels you in, being a young player, with being, an agitator, that type of thing. And he said, you know what? He knows what he's doing. He goes, I only had to say one thing to him. It was last year. He said the penalties that he felt, you went too far a couple times. How did you get that out of your game? Because it hardly ever happens now. He says the only thing really that I need to talk to him about. How did you get that out of your game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's learning. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to learn in this league, and I think that's one of them. It's fine to play on the edge, but you just can't cross that line. And I think I've been doing a good job of that this year of either drawing a penalty or taking a guy with me at least. And I think just picking your moments and being smart about it is probably the biggest thing.
Paul has mentioned that point to us before a few times about Benson, and Ruff telling Paul, I really don't need to rein him in too often. Game 1 tonight, Benson, the Sabres, slight favorites at home in the game, in the series against Montreal. The lottery. We both watched the lottery. You didn't think you would, right?
I didn't think I would pay attention to it, really. I didn't think I would like it. I turned it on, and I thought it was fantastic. The presentation, I thought, was really well done. It kept me there. Showing the balls, it was a little awkward at times because, it's like every time, start the 15-second countdown clock for each ball. But it was dramatic. I liked the presentation a lot. So yeah, full marks to ESPN. Like I turned it on thinking I would just be playing guitar loudly while it was on and just keeping track of who's going to win. But I was there for every ball. I really liked it.
We were begging, almost 20 years ago, for the league to show us the balls. Show the balls. Why? I mean, if anybody's questioning your veracity, your transparency, just do the thing out loud. Do it out in the the studio. And they did. And I don't think there's any questioning the results.
I assume people who right away Toronto wins, it's rigged, weren't watching. Like how would you rig that? Like
I think they're just messing with you.
I just watched every ball come up. I mean, it was great. I mean, I didn't want Toronto to win, and I understand like they're the big media market with media ownership, and they're in the gutter right now. But come on, it's not rigged.
Yeah, finally the league got around to showing it out loud like that. Ross Tucker next.
Game day for the Buffalo Sabres, and they get the second round underway as they'll play host to Montreal. Pregame will be at 6. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop. And a note going forward in these playoffs, no more local television broadcasts. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, that'll be right here on WGR. But you can sync up the radio call to the game on TV by downloading the Odyssey app, finding WGR, then just pause the game on your TV at puck drop and press play once you hear Dan and Rob with the face-off on the app. And then for television purposes tonight, the game is on TNT and HBO. And one lineup note to keep an eye on for tonight, Lindy Ruff did say that Sam Carrick is a possibility to play after returning to practice this week. And of course, as round 2 gets underway, we've got round 2 Sabres playoff posters ready for you. Stop by any Paulo's Donuts location and grab the We Love River Hockey edition while supplies last. Hang it with pride at home, work, or take it with you to the game or watch party. Paulo's Donuts, made with love at Sheridan and Tonawanda, in the Premier Plaza in Williamsville, Southgate Plaza in West Seneca, and Seneca Street in Larkinville. And there is just one other game tonight. It's at 9:30, Game 2, Vegas, Anaheim. The Golden Knights lead that series 1-0. In baseball, the Bisons are on the road versus the Iron Pigs at 6:45, while in the majors, the Jays, they do fall to Tampa 3-0. The Yankees host the Rangers just after 7, and then at 9:20, the Mets are at Colorado. And catch every take, every reaction, and every big Buffalo sports moment live now on YouTube with Jeremy and Joe in the morning, Schopp and the Bulldog in the afternoon. Watch your favorite WGR hosts anytime, anywhere, live on air, live on YouTube. It is brought to you by Belknap Heating and Cooling. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I'd enjoy watching American Beauty again, but it's never on. Because Kevin Spacey's in it.
Yeah.
So we can't show that movie. Best Picture winner. Put a little bit more in there, cowboy. That's the reference. I mean, it's amazing, right? If you missed Ron MacLean swearing with us an hour ago, check it out, or maybe I don't know what you get on the Odyssey app.
Yeah,
on that one.
It's probably bleeped or deleted or something. I have no idea, but whatever. He's sworn.
What about on the YouTube?
We had to dump him. The YouTube, it's there. Yeah, I don't think there's any getting it out of there.
So then we're on different streams at that point, because the bleep backs us up 5 or 7 seconds, but the YouTube doesn't stop. So then you're really in a vortex there. Ross, don't get any ideas. No swearing.
Right.
No swearing is still the rule.
Those are still the rules, yes.
Those are still the rules. It's the host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Ross Tucker. You can check him out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. And by the way, myfrontpagestory.com. Mother's Day is in 4 days here, Ross. It's crunch time.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are we talking about? My hockey expertise, the greatest Mother's Day gift ever, maybe football, my food acumen. I will say this. The problem with Mother's Day is it's so early in May, and the male brain is not trained to even consider Mother's Day until it turns May. But then what happens is it's like May 4th or 5th, or like today, the 6th, and you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, it's only
Mother's
4 days
Day
away.
Is Sunday, and you don't have anything yet. So thankfully, I've partnered up with myfrontpagestory.com. Loyal WGR listeners, including the people on the Odyssey app all over the place, you guys know, by far the best Mother's Day gift ever. Because you know what? You usually just do something lame. You usually just get her flowers or like a card or maybe a gift card. Your mom is awesome. Your wife, if she's a mom, is also awesome. Get her the best gift ever. myfrontpagestory.com. You talk to a writer for 10 minutes, or you fill out a quick email. They write this incredible story. Looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper, framed, beautiful. Just being able to say I had a story written about you is definitely cooler than Mike and Bulldog have ever been able to say about any gift they've ever given anyone. Have you guys ever given someone a gift and said something cooler or more powerful than I had a story written about you to somebody? I doubt it.
I once wrote out the lyrics to In My Life, John Lennon, the Beatles, and framed it like with calligraphy and a couple other things with it. But that's maybe my number one effort. So, but I did the writing.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Bulldog, what do you got? What do you got, Bulldog?
I got a vacuum once, probably, or something. Like, I don't know. I'm Jim Belushi on According to Jim.
I couldn't wait for that answer.
I don't know. Nothing springs to mind. I'm not that thoughtful, Ross.
He just took his wife to Montana.
That's the thing.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I get people, because I'm in the media or whatever, I don't know if it's like this for you guys, but I get sent free stuff all the time, okay? And which is great. It's cool. I'm appreciative of it. So, like, I'll get some stuff, and I'll say to my wife, like a lot of it I don't want. So, like, I got this hat from Aloe, or I got, like, these, like, slippers. And I'll be like, do you want it? And she'll be like, sure, I'll take it. I'm like, okay, no, I'm keeping it. Like, Mother's Day is coming up. And she'd be like, oh, are you serious?
That's a bad look,
Can you not
Ross.
get me something Yeah, can you not get me something thoughtful? So the answer is, she's right. I should get her something thoughtful. And that's exactly what myfrontpagestory.com is. And I can't remember if it's Bulldog or Mike, but one of them offered to give you guys a money-back guarantee if it's not the best Mother's Day gift you've ever gotten them. So myfrontpagestory.com, really appreciate whichever one of you it was.
Okay.
That money-back guarantee. That means a lot. myfrontpagestory.com.
I want to ask you what you've learned since taking to social media with your question about NHL playoff overtime. Like, do you feel like you've learned anything about why it is formatted the way it's formatted? Because your stance, I've seen you post this more than one time.
I love it.
That playoff overtime should begin immediately after regulation ends. And what do you feel like you've learned, if anything, through this process?
I've learned several things. Number one, I've learned that hockey fans are hilarious in the sense that they all, anytime you ever talk to a hockey fan, it really bothers them that people don't talk about hockey more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I mean, you guys do because you just have the Bills and the Sabres. But, like, I'll just be honest with you. In Philly, they never talk about the Flyers on WIP until now that the Flyers are in the playoffs and they won a series. You know, like, it gets, like, no airtime. And on the national shows, hockey doesn't get much airtime. Social media doesn't. So they clamor. They desire more people talk about hockey. And then as soon as you say something about hockey, they get incredibly defensive and are like, you're an idiot. You don't know anything about hockey. You don't know anything about my sport, blah, blah, blah. What I think is funny.
This all tracks. Yeah.
Is, dude, it's game 6, okay, of the Flyers and Penguins, okay? And I'm watching every second of it, and so are my daughters, and it goes into overtime. And now it's like 10 o'clock, okay? And they have another 15-minute intermission before overtime. And I'm like, girls, you got to go to bed. And they're like, no, we stayed up this long. Like, we're watching it. And now I'm thinking, like, well, what if it goes to double overtime or triple? And so I tweeted 1,000% from a fan perspective and for my benefit, overtime in hockey should start immediately after third period ends. And people came out of the woodwork. Matthew Barnaby is like, you've never skated on ice after playing on it for 20 minutes, LOL. And I replied, I've never skated on ice at all. Al Morgani, my buddy, says, Ross, I love your football and food takes, meaning he hates my hockey takes. So I put that out there. The funniest part about it to me is all the people that say, you're an idiot. You can't possibly play on the ice after 20 minutes they need to Zamboni it, and the players, you're a fat football player that stands around for 30 seconds after you have no idea what it takes to be a hockey player and blah, blah, blah. After 20 minutes, those guys need a rest. And then I pointed out last night when the Flyers went to overtime again against Carolina, or 2 nights ago, I said, well, the regular season overtime is 5 minutes. So how come in the regular season the ice is okay for 5 more minutes and the players are okay to be out there for 5 more minutes? So what I want to know is, when is it the end of the world as we know it? When is it like, oh my gosh, the ice is so bad, the players are all going to tear their ACL. They're going to fall in the cracks of the ice. Because does that happen at 7 minutes? Is it 9 minutes? When is the miracle magic time where all of a sudden there's no way the players of the ice could possibly continue for 1 more second? I want to know when that time cutoff is.
I don't have that answer. I think it's probably between 5 and 10 minutes.
I think it varies, and it varies, and especially at this time of the year, springtime and into June here, eventually, like the humidity and just the heat in buildings can make it hard. So it's not always the same. Like it's not all like the ice is different in a lot of different buildings. So
but I would like to say this too. I think this idea is ahead of its time. You have 3 or more Zambonis working. I don't think it's as much the players needing the rest as it is the conditions of the surface.
I agree.
So I've got 3 Zambonis running. I think I can get in, get out in like 5 to 10 minutes again to clean the ice and be ready to go. And I love this because I'd never thought about this before from a TV standpoint. But shouldn't we be thinking about everything anymore in sports from a TV standpoint, like what's best for television? Because,
it is a long 20 minutes.
Yes, that intermission from the excitement of the end of the third, I don't know, like it's bedtime and it's different. You're right. It is something to consider. So I bet we will see the day where they shorten it.
And here's the thing, too. Yeah, and here's the thing, right? You make a great point about I would argue overtime hockey is as good as sports gets because it can end at any second. So you're like totally glued to it. And that's why the purists don't want to change it because they love overtime hockey. And I get that part of it. But what I would tell you is we've established they could at least just continue right away for 5 minutes. And my research tells me they can Zamboni in 4 to 5 minutes. I Googled this, okay? And Google's never been wrong. So they can Zamboni in 4 to 5 minutes. So what I think we should consider is that they just continue. After the third period ends, they just continue for somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. If there's still no conclusion at that point, then we take a 5-minute Zamboni break, and then we go out for another 20-minute period. But can't someone please think of the guys that like to wake up early to work out at 5 a.m. or their children? Yes. Can't someone please think of the children?
Yeah.
East Coast dads.
Well, yeah. It is. There is. I mean, it's harder and harder as we get older, Ross. But like in my teens, in my 20s, I mean, there's a famous. I just saw the highlight, the anniversary of it. Keith Primo, 4th overtime for the Flyers against the Penguins. 5th overtime. Excuse me. Mike's holding up 5. Yeah. I watched that. I was in my 20s, and it's like a badge of honor to like be up until 2 a.m. watching the hockey game. I know it's harder for like the kids, your daughter's age. So there's that. The fact is, I think you probably heard all this from people that weren't polite about it, and I'm certainly not going to be impolite about it. But in the playoffs, you're going to want to have. It's one thing to play 5 minutes 3-on-3, by the way, in the regular season on chopped up ice. It's another when the stakes are so big in the playoffs, could be win or go home. You want to have the surface as credible as it can so you don't have some crappy bounce because the ice is all chopped up. So like that's I think a big part of it. It's not so much the tradition as much as it is respecting that you don't want the outcome to be affected by ice that's been chewed up for 45 minutes of real time.
I got it, and that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
And I would also say, I wonder if they're more likely to score a goal sooner if they just kept playing, because with no intermission, because those guys would be gassed, right?
Yep.
So I wonder, does that make them more likely or less likely to score a goal? I don't know. It sounds like maybe less likely from what I heard about the goalie said the players being slower helps them. I'll tell you guys something. I used to do this show for 3 or 4 years on NBC Sports Network. It was called NBC Sports Talk, okay? And we would come on after the NHL playoff game would be over. So picture me all this time of year, all May, you've never seen someone, NFL radio show, you've never seen someone rooting for a team to score a goal more in your life. Right. We would sit there because we had to stay there to do the show until the hockey game was over. So it was brutal. It'd go to overtime. And then in overtime, I'd be like, come on. There'd be 2 minutes left. And they'd be like, no more goal, double overtime. And I'm like, you guys have got to be kidding me. I mean, there were multiple times it was double overtime or triple. And that's when I kind of grew to hate hockey overtime, to be honest with you.
That Primo goal was scored at 2:35 in the morning in Pittsburgh. Well, at least, Ross, you could do one thing in those moments in May, sitting there waiting for hockey games to end. At least you could remember, like, oh, Mother's Day is this month, because it was May. So you realized it.
Mother's Day is this month. It's myfrontpagestory.com. All right, so do your moms or wives listen to the show?
Yes. 2 for 2.
Okay, so then you can't tell me what you got them for Mother's Day.
I can text you.
My wife isn't listening. She's sleeping. She's working overnights. But somebody will tell her, so I don't want to say. But I did do something.
My wife has already opened her Mother's Day present, and we were using it, and it's a hit.
Oh, wow.
But that's not – I don't want to step on Ross's toes, because I think Ross's idea is excellent.
Say what it is. Say what it is.
It's an electronic calendar, because she has been using a whiteboard to keep track of everybody's events and tasks and things, and everybody has a different color marker. And so I bought her a couple $100. I bought her a electronic calendar that can like be mounted to the wall, that everybody can add my kids are teenagers, they can add their sports, and my wife can put in there, I need you to, clean the bathroom, or just different things like this. And we all have our own stuff. And I thought it was funny, by the way, quickly, Ross, I know you have to go. Like, one of mine things that I have just been putting off forever is to clean the basement. Like, I have a pool table, and it's got boxes of stuff on the pool table. So every day I'd probably think to myself, I got to clean the pool table, but I would never do it until I put it on that calendar and like, okay, I get a check mark now. So I immediately did it. Like, I had to have that check mark.
Good boy, Michael.
Which is worth nothing.
I love that idea, and my wife and I share the same Google Calendar. So that's kind of how we do it. That is a good, and now we include our nanny so that she's, she knows our daughter's activities, because goodness knows they have too many. That's a good gift, Mike. It's not as good as myfrontpagestory.com.
No.
What could
the type of gift that will make your wife or mom cry. She will cry, you will win. It's not quite as good as that. It's a little bit more practical, as opposed to being over the top romantic and thoughtful like myfrontpagestory.com, but I'll allow it. It's definitely better than whatever Bulldog did.
I'll take it.
I'm just gonna eat that. I'm just gonna eat it.
In his defense, it's not Mother's Day yet. All right. Thank you, Ross. As you were.
See you, boys. We just solved hockey.
Go Flyers.
Oh,
Get Porter Martone going and get this series extended here. I can't have them going out in 4 straight.
I would love that. I would love Philadelphia to get level. There's one more. I guess I do want to mention this, but it's going to sound like I'm just bragging a little bit. But I've had this working relationship with the Woodhouse for a few years now. And, that's also, I mean, should I say, like, that's another great gift idea.
I've done that for my wife and her mom.
Massages,
Mother's
and
Days, yeah.
facials and different things. And I just have built up this certain amount in credit that's bordering on obscene.
Okay.
But I don't feel like I can give that out as a present because then I'm not buying anything.
Right.
Like, I've gone in there and used credits on like the robes and different soaps and different things. At least I'm making the effort of going there and acquiring, but I'm still not paying money in a literal sense.
Right. You're not buying a gift.
So I did buy this calendar, which has been, a hit so far at home. Like, look, like I say this all the time, but if you ever want to go over there and, get touched.
Right. We can make that happen for you.
Just snap your fingers and it'll happen. But I just can't really give my wife that as a present.
Maybe I can buy some of that off of you.
Oh, well, that's the best idea I've ever heard. We were talking about the lottery last night. One more thought about it. I agree with you. Finally, the league got around to, why don't we just do the drawing on the air? Which, at least for most people, slows us down on like, oh, well, I wonder if it was, what did they actually do in the back?
All
How many
behind
times do they run
doors.
it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like this was long overdue that they would actually do it on the screen. So you had that. The thing, though, that still doesn't really work about the lottery is, to me, the GMs. And poor Mike Greer. So Toronto wins. It's not, I can say that, right? Like, I'm not spoiling. If you missed it, you missed it. Toronto wins the lottery.
Right.
And then they do the whole thing again for the second pick, which, fine. I guess you can't really do it the other way. And Toronto was one number away from winning again, in which case they would have restarted, which I was rooting for. I was rooting for infinite Toronto.
Right.
So that it would just never end. But instead, San Jose wins the second pick. And John Buccigross is the host. And, the Sharks, again. A top two, is it 4 times? Like a top 2 pick. And there's Mike Greer sitting there in an empty room looking into the camera. And he's not enjoying it outwardly. And Buccigross says something like, smile, you won. And I'm thinking to myself, how embarrassing. I'm one of these GMs in this situation because my team stinks. And I've had, is it 3? I don't even know. It's at least 2. They've had top 2 picks the last 2 years.
Yeah, they've got a stable of guys. Yeah.
They have a stable of guys, but they still are so bad that they're like even one of the favorites in the lottery.
They weren't that bad. They were in the race. Everybody was in the race in that division, but they just missed out. Like, they could have been Anaheim.
Well, I only mean that they were not a playoff team.
Right, okay.
And they've been on the lottery year after year, like we went through.
Right.
And now you got Buccigross over there like, what do you mean? Why aren't you having any fun? Well, we want to know? Because I'm only here because my team stinks. Yeah. And I'm getting these top picks, and I'm still here. And I'm supposed to be like, I'm supposed to sort of be obviously delighted that I won the second overall pick. I'm embarrassed. I think that's how I would be. I'd be embarrassed. I don't want to sit here.
I think this is a terrible read by you on San Jose. I really do. I mean, I appreciate the passion. I agree it was awkward, but I don't know. To me, they're coming. I don't think Mike Greer is sitting there thinking my team's an embarrassment. Like, they're going to be really good probably next year.
I think he could think that, but I think he could also be like, again, I'm in this situation because my team is not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And no matter what degree of that we're talking about, it's still like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not happy enough looking for you. Really?
For your TV
Thanks.
show? Yeah.
I mean, even Sundin had to be have it explained to him. Like, he had to have his arm twisted into sort of smiling once. Like, it's just not. Well, that's a better example to your point, like the Leafs versus the Sharks. But still, like, just don't tell me I have to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm bad. My team is bad. That's why this is happening. Or, relatively speaking. That's all. Just like, it's not even about the roster, it's about you.
I would stop interchanging bad or terrible and miss the playoffs because they just missed. They weren't terrible. Celebrini is going to be an MVP. Like they are. I think they're all set. This pick might even like cinch it for them because they could get a defenseman that might be every bit as good as Lane Hudson or Rasmus Dahlin if they don't take the forward who's second, whichever forward doesn't go one to the Leafs, the Swedish kid or McKenna. There's a bunch of D that could really, really help them.
Fair enough.
So I think they're going to be really good really soon.
Fair enough. 7 teams in the league had fewer points than the Sharks. But, okay. Even with the Sabres, it's a little bit of how many lottery picks do we need to give you
right.
where you're going to ever get anywhere? If I were Adams, I wouldn't want to be, excited, in public about winning the lottery. It's like, oh, well, I'll take it. Sal Capaccio coming up next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Game 1, Sabres-Canadiens, pregame at 6 on WGR.
It is game day for the Buffalo Sabres as they'll get round 2 underway. They host Montreal. Pregame is at 6, a 7 p.m. puck drop. And a note going forward in these playoffs, there are no more local television broadcasts. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, that'll be right here on WGR. But you can also sync up the radio call and the game on TV by downloading first the Odyssey app, finding WGR, then just pause the game on your TV at puck drop, and then press play once you hear Dan and Rob with the face-off on the app. And then for television purposes tonight, the game is on TNT and HBO. And there is one lineup note to definitely keep an eye on for the Sabres. Lindy Ruff said Sam Carrick is a possibility to play after returning to practice earlier this week. There is just one other game on the schedule tonight. It's at 9:30 following Sabres in Montreal. It's game 2 of Vegas-Anaheim. The Golden Knights do lead that series 1-0. And then in baseball, the Bisons on the road versus the Iron Pigs at 6:45. While in the majors, the Jays fell to Tampa 3-0. The Yankees host the Rangers just after 7. And then at 9:20, the Mets are at Colorado. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Nice of Ross Tucker not to swear. I think Sal knows.
We're 1 for 2 so far on the day on guests.
We're 1 for 2. Our first guest, Ron MacLean, just dropped the S word into the conversation, and we had to, remedy that.
Yeah.
Ross was clean trip.
He was quoting Don Cherry, so the I don't know. It's a little different, but he still swore.
Zach caught it. Had he not, that's really an interesting thing going forward. Had it gotten on,
I know.
Like, what happened? We'd be called in.
I'm over here as it happens. I'm thinking it's Ron MacLean. Let it go. It's fine.
He can say anything he wants.
But that's not how this works.
But he wouldn't get fined.
No, we would.
We would get fined.
The rules are for everyone, and really they pertain to us directly. If we allowed that to be over the air on our show, so we had to do it. But my head, I'm like, we got the Pope on. He swore. It's fine. It's the Pope.
Yeah, the Pope can swear. Sal Capaccio, in your storied broadcasting career, any incidents in terms of swear words on the air with you? I don't think I know.
Oh, yes. People calling. I remember that's happened a couple times. You're like, what do I do with this? And then have to kind of hit a button. Like there's right in front of where you sit, Mike. There's a button. Like, does it actually work? I don't know. That's happened.
Does anything work?
I'm kind of I'm very protective of that. Like I want to make sure I don't say anything wrong. But I will say that on our podcast, it's always Game Day in Buffalo. It is not on the radio. It's on YouTube. And by the way, I heard Ron MacLean I was watching you guys on the stream. Totally cool on the stream, by the way. You got no FCC rules, I think. Like, just go. Right? I think that's the case. I'm not sure how it works.
I hope so. I think it went out on the stream, so we'll find out.
Yes, it did. It did. So, but in that note, we were telling a story last week when the Bills drafted IGB. In his bio, it said his favorite TV show is The Sopranos. So we do a Zoom call with him. And I say to him on the Zoom call, I say, hey, I'm a Sopranos fan too. Do you have a favorite episode? And he said, yes. He said, it's the one where Tony's friend, they kill him on the boat. I don't want to say the guy's name. And he was trying to be respectful. Mm-hmm. So I retell that story, and it's always Game Day in Buffalo, and I say the name. Mm-hmm. And Bovey's like, oh, I don't know, man. You shouldn't have said that. I'm like, why? Like, that's his name. Right? So, it was kind of caught in between. I didn't really know what to do.
I've never seen the show, but I think I know the name. So let's move on. Sal, we've been apart here for a few days. What's the latest in your series on the website with position groups?
So I did wide receivers. I've done everything in the offense except for O-linemen now. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and running backs included fullbacks, by the way. quarterback, running back, fullback, wide receiver, and tight end was the latest overnight last night into this morning.
I hope you don't mind that the Sabres are eating into your airtimes. I feel like we would have talked to you 15 times about your wide receiver piece already in 3 days since it's been up. I think if the Sabres weren't in the playoffs. So
I don't mind whatsoever. I think it's great. I'm like, yeah, that's all right. I mean, I totally understand, and I'm with you. I'm trying to get this done while I'm dialed into the Sabres.
Right. Well, let's talk about the receiver piece here. We know what they've said about Coleman, and they, like you and I feel like we're very close on how we felt about Coleman going into the draft. But then right before, right, is that when Brandon Beane sort of doubled down on Coleman? Like they're backing him publicly much more than they had previously. That could still be smoke for a summer trade or something, I suppose. But I guess I want to take them at their word for now. But they did draft Bell, and I think when we talked about this right after the draft, that guy's on the field in 3 receiver sets by Halloween, either through injury or something else. Like I'm pretty excited about him. How do you feel like he fits into the whole picture there, Sal?
I think he's in a group of 3. So the way that I've kind of looked at the big picture is, if you take a look, there are 10 wide receivers under contract. This does not count anyone that's been a reported undrafted free agent signing. These are actual guys under contract right now. 10 guys. And I really think there's a 5-and-5 group. And out of the first 5, you have 2 at the top. DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir. Would any of us argue they're the top 2 guys? I don't think anybody would, right? They're the top 2 guys.
Have to be.
Then I think there's a line. And you have 3 guys. It's Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, and Skylar Bell. And I really don't know what to do with all 3 of them yet. And this is going to sort itself out at training camp, which is you could literally put them on a randomizer and, Mike, doing a fantasy football draft, how do they turn out? Coleman, Palmer, Bell, who's 3, 4, 5 in this pecking order. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them were 3 or 4 or 5. And they all kind of fit in this bucket of, well, if Coleman shows up on time, does everything he's supposed to do, all that kind of stuff that we think about, and then, the skill set translates into some of the things we've seen. He clearly could be the number 3. I think he'll have every opportunity to be 3. Joshua Palmer, same boat, but because of injury. His injuries were a big part of his story last year. I think the Bills believe that Josh Palmer can still be a really big part of this offense, and it just didn't come to fruition because of the injuries last year. And then you have Skylar Bell, who, as you said, Bulldog, would any of us be surprised if by Halloween or Thanksgiving he is really vaulting himself up the depth chart? But right now, probably he's that 5th guy. He has to get an opportunity to do that. Then there's a line, and there's your Tyrell Shavers, who's injured, Nicole Hardman, Steven Gosnell, Jalen Virgil, and Trent Sherfield, to me, who is the Tyrell Shavers insurance.
Right.
We'll have time on this once the Sabres run ends. Who knows? That could be a week. I mean, hopefully not, but whenever it happens. And I know how often we've talked about Coleman, but I've had the instinct lately, and maybe it's just being in these fantasy drafts where it's a combination of rookies and then veterans that teams have cut. And Keon Coleman is on the board in all of them. Just anytime you want, he's almost free anytime you want to pick up Keon Coleman. And it gave me the feeling that maybe we've gone a little bit too far with how, unusable he is, right? There still is the draft investment. You've got Brady's comments. There is room for him or someone else, like you just ran down the list, to play and contribute. He's not going to catch 100 passes, but he might be somebody who could catch half that, and we're not talking about it's just a completely lost asset. So that's been my feeling on him lately, is that I think Bell is a little bit redundant. The Bills did that again. They've done that with other picks, but it'll be something eventually. And I agree that they'll want to see Palmer, but, I mean, they really don't have any reason to think Palmer is that much more than what he's been almost every year of his career. So, I don't know. I want to keep the light on for Coleman still, bottom line.
I totally get it. I just actually rewatched some of the Jacksonville playoff game last year, and he had a really nice, play down the sidelines, set up a touchdown. And I thought that same thing where, look, I mean, there's times where he's shown up. The Houston game a couple of years ago, there's been plays here or there. You've seen the talent. And, he can be a part of this offense. I think they really want him to be a part of this offense. I think the organization, has a vested interest in seeing that work out. There's no doubt. I look at that group though and think, after that, it's probably, hey, what do you have? I guess the best way to say it is, hey, they're better probably on paper, but there's still probably 5 guys and maybe room for another one to bring in if you want to bring in a Brandon Cooks and bring him back, right? Like there might be an opportunity because Tyrell Shavers, I don't know what that looks like for training camp and going into the season. I think Trent Sherfield takes that job if he doesn't, but I think there's just 5 guys in and 5 guys out right now. It's pretty clear, and as much as you might like those, there's injuries that happen, and you might have room here for even some more stuff.
Yeah. I do want to – I said at the outset when I brought Coleman up, like sort of take them at their word, but I also I want to at least say that, if this were happening somewhere else with a troubled player and there were maybe conflicting ideas about what his future is, like there definitely are people out there that probably think the Bills are done with the kid at this point, despite what they're saying, because what they're saying, what did Bean say? Like, they called us around the draft. People were calling, but we shut it down. Like, to me, that could be a plea to, come with something bigger in the summer if you want Keon Coleman. Like, sometimes teams do that. So I want to leave that door cracked open, that they still could, find some price that they find palatable and just say, you know what? We got enough other guys. Let's just move on. They can talk somebody into a 4th or something. Maybe the whole thing just goes away.
Yeah, and look, anything is possible at this point, but I think we're pretty past the point of where I really believe that they would make a move here. So I'm going to take them at what they've been saying about him, that he's going to be on this team. They believe in him. Everything that goes along with all the things that they've talked about. But guys, we don't know until they get to the season, and he does it still.
Right.
Because that happened last year, and in week 4, he got benched.
He had a great summer last year. Like, it was,
Yeah.
And maybe something to watch too is how much does the team promote him? Like with social media, because last year it was every day there was some highlight of Keon. I might be exaggerating a little, but it was frequent. They were highlighting him in the team on the team Twitter account, and if that's cooled down, then that might be that could be a sign, I suppose. But if it's like it was last year, then that also could be a sign.
He's still the number one. Like, a lot of this that happens at this position hinges on him for me this year. Like, really, where is he? What does he do? He could be the guy that kind of makes your wide receiver group look and be a lot better than you might think, or be the guy that we're looking at going, man, it just never worked out. And now you're looking at, can Skylar Bell be a really good rookie? And can Josh Palmer stay healthy? Then we're at the same point we've been at every trade deadline for the last few years.
Do I need a guy? Right, another guy? Right. Do I have enough at receiver? Right.
Yep.
I think if your team is good, and it should be, the answer is necessarily yes. Every year you should be thinking that way. Like, let's add, But we'll see. That's a ways off. Any quick point on the tight end group that you think is maybe interesting, that might be surprising in any way, or what?
All right, real quick on tight ends. I just think that I have not gone and thoroughly broke down every single team's roster at tight end. I believe the Bills have one of the best, most diverse tight end rooms in the league. I mean, they have a really good pass catcher in Dalton Kincaid, obviously. They have a really good blocker in Jackson Hawes. And then they have a Mr. kind of everything who can be a bit of both in Dawson Knox. I think it's the perfect skill set. And when you really dig into the Dalton Kincaid numbers, man, if this guy can, it's all about him staying healthy, guys. If he can stay healthy, I mean, last year he led all tight ends 2.76 yards per route run. Okay. He was second most in his position in the league with anybody like a minimum catches of 20 with 14.6 yards per catch. He was 10th with 47.6 yards per game in just the games he played. Like, these are really, really good numbers. He just needs to be on the field.
Thank you, Sal. Enjoy game 1, and we'll talk again whenever it's possible.
All right, you got it. Thanks.
That's our man Sal Capaccio on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet, Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Pregame with Paul Hamilton at 6, game 1, downtown. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. How do you feel? This is WGR. Time for trivia. 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947. First correct answer to our Mother's Day trivia question wins a $125 gift card to the fabulous Woodhouse Spa in Williamsville. It's what Mom really wants for Mother's Day. In the early 2000s, this NFL quarterback and his real-life mother, Wilma, became cultural icons by starring together in a long-running series of Campbell's Chunky Soup commercials. Who is this quarterback? 716-221-4947. I've met this player in multiple settings. And you and I had him on, too. And one of them was at the Super Bowl.
And the aforementioned mom, Wilma. We had them on together.
And Wilma.
We had them on together. It was a promotion for the soup brand.
Yes. I have only met Wilma once. And if that were not true, I wouldn't even tell you. But I've only met her once, the one time at the Super Bowl.
Same for me.
But her son was on the sideline for his alma mater when I was announcing games for them as a sideline reporter. And it was actually a game at his NFL team's stadium.
All right. How about that?
Which was the only time I was ever at that stadium. How do you like how cryptic this is?
I know. We're doing a very good job of not giving any of it away. Right.
Yes, the vet.
But this is I gotta say, this is the second answer to one of these trivia questions on the third day we've been doing it that the correct answer is someone who's been a guest on the show. Because Jim Kelly was Monday, and obviously he was on the show dozens of times.
Who was yesterday?
Yesterday was
Marcus Patton.
Right, and I don't remember him joining us.
I don't either. I don't think I've ever spoken with Marcus Patton.
Yeah.
But Mother's Day themes.
Yep.
2 more questions coming tomorrow and Friday. Let's go. Game 1 tonight. Can we say the answer? Yes. Donovan McNabb is the answer.
Right.
So there you go. If you didn't know. Game 1 tonight. The vibes have got to be amazing. Congrats to anybody who's going. You're probably almost on your way if you're not down there already. Tell us about it. How do you feel? How confident are you? 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Pregame at 6 on WGR.
Just one more hour before pregame as the Buffalo Sabres will get their second-round matchup underway against the Montreal Canadiens. Sabres are home for games 1 and 2. Again, pregame is at 6. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop tonight. And a note going forward in these playoffs, there are no more local television broadcasts, so if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, that'll be right here on WGR, but you can sync up the radio call and the game on television by first downloading the Odyssey app, finding WGR, then just pause the game on your TV at puck drop, and then press play once you hear Dan and Rob with the face-off on the app. And for TV purposes tonight, the game is on TNT and HBO. There is one lineup note to keep an eye on for the Sabres. Lindy Ruff did say Sam Carrick is a possibility to play after returning to practice earlier this week. And of course, as mentioned, we're on to round 2, and WGR's round 2 Sabres playoff posters are ready for you. Stop by any Paula's Donuts location and grab the We Love River Hockey edition while supplies last. Hang it with pride at home, work, take it with you to the great game, or even watch parties. Paula's Donuts, made with love on Sheridan in Tonawanda, in the Premier Plaza in Williamsville, Southgate Plaza in West Seneca, and Seneca Street in Larkinville. And then around the rest of the league, there is just one other game tonight, 9:30, Game 2 of Vegas-Anaheim, and the Golden Knights do lead that series 1-0. Then in baseball, Bison's on the road versus the Iron Pigs at 6:45, while in the majors, the Jays did fall to Tampa Bay 3-0. The Yankees host the Rangers just after 7 o'clock, and then at 9:20, the Mets are at Colorado. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
How many bees is a swarm? Is 2 a swarm or 3, whatever? How many does it have to be? And
like 7.
It's Mike Schopp.
How many times do you have to be stung to have been swarmed? And I was like, dude, I got swarmed. I got stung only once, but I was swarmed.
And the Bulldog.
You insist you were swarmed.
There were bees, man, like plural, big, lots of S's. Lots of E's and S's. Bees. that was not
bees.
Fun. Right. That was not fun.
On WGR.
Hey, man, that kind of hurt.
Sports Radio 550.
Well, if it's hockey we're talking about, the Bees are dead. And it's on to the Canadians in round 2, game 1 in about 2 hours. TNT for the network broadcast, WGR here for the radio broadcast. I mean, this is the best. If you missed Ron MacLean on our show earlier today, not hyping it per se, but discussing it.
It was the best.
He is the best.
He's so great. Just really, really, I don't think there's anyone that, certainly not that we've come across and talked to, that I hold in higher regard than him. I've just enjoyed his entire career so much. And I don't see it as much anymore. We don't, I don't have the channels where I get the CBC all the time. It's kind of a random hit or miss on a Saturday night maybe, or even on a weeknight where I'll get him on the Sportsnet desk if they're carrying a game. But used to be the front half of my career, I watched him every Saturday night with Don Cherry, and then the satellite hot stove that our good friend Jim Kelly was on. This is a long time ago now, but that was Saturday night for me. I was a barrel of fun in my 20s. All I wanted to do on Saturday night was watch the doubleheader on Hockey Night in Canada.
I'm not going to show you up.
I got to see Ron MacLean and Scott Morrison and whoever. Eric Duhatsik. I'm going through the names of reporters that were stationed around that would be a part of that. I mean, it was just so great.
Globe and Mail.
Right.
I was thinking of a version of a line like this earlier, but I thought every name I thought of would have just been seemingly too rude to the other person. Like right there. I can't. I'm not sure there's anybody I hold in higher esteem, and I'm thinking, a lot of names just flood into my head. But to say any of them would just be like a cheap shot. Like I'm trying to think of somebody so obvious that would maybe take it in stride. But I don't have that person yet.
Like I recognize Al Michaels as a bigger star in broadcasting than Ron MacLean is, but hockey means more to me, and it's just different for me. I love Al Michaels, and I love that through you we've had access to him as many times as we have in the last 5 years or so. But man, Ron, there's just something about hearing his voice just hits.
Al would have a take on this series, I think. But if he does, we don't know it. We're not going to know it.
You're not going to reach out to him, see if
Right,
he wants
yeah.
to come on and preview Sabres.
I don't want to reach out to anybody. Today we've had more guests, yesterday, today, all week, and now it's like, all right.
Game time.
Yes.
Yep.
Fans and the game and what's going to happen, and then tomorrow we'll be here and we'll talk about what happened. Just us. Here's Chris with us. Hi, Chris. Okay. New plan. Lots of guests.
Right.
Tomorrow.
You want to call Al now?
All the guests. New plan.
I wonder how. We both. So I think we were in a similar headspace a couple hours ago when we started today. You asked me how I'm feeling, and I don't know if I'm letting anyone down by not having the usual game day nerves. I expect it'll come back once the series gets going, but I just feel like I cannot wait for the game, and that's always the case, but usually I have trouble keeping my thoughts straight. I'm really on edge. I might jump down your throat or someone else just because I'm very edgy, and I don't feel that right now at all. I'm just so absolutely overjoyed, not only that they made it, but that they took the Bruins out, and there was nothing about it that was like bouncy or fluky. They just professionally took them out like a good team should in the playoffs. Now, it doesn't guarantee you anything against Montreal. I mean, it's a harder test. And even as good as Buffalo was, who knows? One thing here or there goes different, and you just never know in the playoffs. So there's no guarantees that you're going to keep winning these series, but it just feels so good to be there. Like the only thing that's bumming me out right now is the fact that it feels like it's maybe November out instead of May. Because I've been romanticizing for 15 years about these days. Right? We're going to get back to the playoffs, and you're going to be outside in flip-flops and, getting off the train and like going to tailgate or whatever you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing it outside, and it's going to be light out until 8:30 and all that. And so we got like cloudy, gray, and, rainy. It's a little disappointing.
It's
in that
warmer
respect.
in Montreal right now. Hopefully they don't do a thing about that.
Right.
Remember the Bills would play Miami?
Show the thermometers.
In the playoffs, and Miami is 84, and Buffalo it's 4.
Right.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No.
But not a big difference.
Nobody needs that. But anyway, that's not a big deal. My vibe check is, man, it is just great to be here. Is really how I feel, and I know that can be dangerous if the team is sort of like house money for us now. I doubt
there's
at
no
all.
reason to worry about that.
Right, there's no reason to worry about that, and I feel perfectly comfortable, and that's rare for me.
Yes, I largely, if not entirely, agree. I feel the same way. We've talked about pressure a lot. We're always talking about pressure, and I tend to push back against like any kind of point about how much pressure players would feel because I think we tend to think about players like they're us with no control over it and really doing no preparation and just being like, oh my God, this is going to be different. Because I just don't think that that's how those guys operate. I think there's another way of looking at that too that is positive. That listen to Darlene talk about this over and over. He's talked about this. It's the opportunity that pressure means that sort of goes with it.
Right.
It's not just like, oh, well, we've never gotten through this round or we've never beaten this team or we've never won a series in this many years, all those things. I don't know. There's nerves and pressure, but I think pro athletes tend to make that into a positive. Like fear is an important and necessary trait. You want that, or else you would just jump off bridges because you're not afraid. Like I just do stupid things all the time. I mean, there are people who do more stupid things than other people, but you need that fear. You need that element of whether fear is exactly in line with this. And I trust this team so much. Really, like I said yesterday or the day before, what's left to pick at with them. So in round one, well, they've never been there. Well, goaltending, the power play. I mean, the power play didn't get better, really.
No.
I mean, goals-wise. There were these areas and some intangible where we might have been, nervous. And they got through round one. They didn't suffer for not having been to the playoffs before. Far from it. They won game one. They won 3 road games in the series, 3 for 3. So, check. Goaltending was tremendous. In the end, Lyon gets the call and 5 goals in 4 games, right, Lyon? So check. And you played it, if it's not the first point, again, you played a team that just has a lot better history, even against Buffalo. And like I said all the time about the matchup with the Bruins, why would anybody in that Sabres locker room care about Terry O'Reilly or Ray Bourque? Like, they just wouldn't even care. They might not even know who they are. Like, just, they know, I think they know they're good.
Yeah, I like this a lot because I think it lends itself to the what I'm describing my own feelings as today. I think it's definitely a key part of why I don't have the usual game day anxiety. I guess I trust them. Like, and that doesn't mean I know they're going to win or something, because who could know such a thing? But I don't think at this point I don't think there's any reason to be worried anymore about whether the moment is going to be too much for them or anything. That's why that's Sunday. That's why Friday in Boston, Game 6, felt so fulfilling. Is that as the game went on, and the third period starts, and you're nursing a 2-1 lead, first 5 minutes of the period going by, and it's like, oh, this is going to get really heavy here. Like, this is really going to test us. Maybe it's time to start pacing. It's really going to get tense. And then Josh Doan makes a play, and it's 3-1. And, you're not on cruise control, but, I mean, you've got a cushion, and I entirely trusted them from that point. 15 minutes to go, 14 minutes to go, whenever that goal was scored.
It's over.
To garage the game. I couldn't tweet it that early because I can't do it that early. It feels irresponsible, as silly as that might be.
I get it.
But in my head, I'm like, they're home. There's no way they're blowing this. This team this year, with the way they've buckled down third periods, they'll be lucky if Boston gets a good chance. And pretty much that's kind of what, I mean, they just kind of cruised from there. And that should get rewarded with trust. As a fan, you should go like, I trust these guys. I mean, Boston's not Montreal. It's a different matchup. And again, it doesn't guarantee you anything here. But any reservations you had about whether they were going to be physical enough or mentally tough enough, or, are they going to crack in some way? I mean, the only thing that cracked is that Luukkonen got a bad bounce on a 100-foot shot in Game 2. Like that's the only faux pas really they've had in those 6 games. I mean, it's not to say they were perfect, but there was nothing glaring, nothing like you can't believe. Oh my God, I can't believe that guy did that.
Well, I mostly agree. It wasn't that the Sabres didn't get some luck against Boston. I mean, they did get some luck against Boston. I think Game 1 a little bit, and I think Game 3 a little bit, and then Game 6 a little bit. But Game 5 was not their, lucky day. But that's okay. Like, that doesn't mean they didn't deserve to win. It's just Boston, I wasn't worried at 3-1. I was pretty worried at 2-1 for a while because Boston had a lot of looks at tying that game. And, goaltending is not all luck, but goalie came through. And there were a couple, not to rehash it because we don't need to, but there were a couple of plays in Buffalo with the Bruins where the Geeky in Game 1, just had to hold net and didn't shoot. And it could have been different. It could have been different. But the better team won. And all this glowing optimism about the Sabres says nothing about Montreal, which probably, why wouldn't it be true, comes in with the same everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just nothing to lose. They get to start on the road, which we both kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, none of this counteracts anything about the Canadians. because they could have all the same. They're young and dumb, and just like we're good. You beat Tampa. Who can't you beat? You beat Tampa in Game 7 on 9 shots. Who can't you beat?
Right. Yeah, they should definitely be feeling that, and it might be right. Maybe a Montreal version of me feels exactly the way I do right now, going into this. Like I feel very good about my team. I don't know what's going to happen in the games, but I know I feel like I want to trust them, and that, that's not always been true. Like you get hung up on different things. Like I doubt they're going to get the good fortune of winning multiple series here. If they don't get their power play going, like I think it's hard to continue to win in the playoffs without it, because 5-on-5 can just get so buttoned up that you're just going to need that juice that the power play is going to give you. And so I'm not optimistic that they can they can score one power play goal the whole series and win a long series, which a 6-game series is long.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I wouldn't bet on it. So like that's an area to really kind of hone in on. But even that, you've got an answer. Like we talked to Mike Kelly yesterday, and without having done a deep dive, it's like the scoring chances were there. They were in the top 5 in looks, basically. They just didn't score. But that's encouraging. And I'm like, okay, I can take that with me into another series and hope that I get some different bounces here or there. That's where, the word luck comes back into it a little bit. Bounce here or there. Goal mouth scramble. It ends up on your stick, not the defender's, and you shovel it in. That can be a lot of power play goals at this time of the year. So hopefully they get that, because I think that is the one area I would look at and say, like, if that doesn't get going, they could be in pretty tough.
Sabres at DraftKings -135. Pretty good.
For the game or the series?
For the game.
Okay.
For the series, it'd be about the same, right? Not quite as good. -115. Slighter favorite, if that's a word. -135 tonight. Over under, slight juice to the over 5.5. What do you like? You like over 5.5 or under? Under pays a little better.
I mean, God, 5.5. I mean, I could see 3-2 as I think I would go under. I think I would go under.
This is another one where you can't win in overtime. If it's 2-2, you're dead. 3-3, you already won.
Right.
So
right.
If it's 6, then I get to 3-3, then I'm going to win.
Right.
Necessarily.
Right.
Okay.
I largely avoid totals. There's never enough juice on one side or the other. Like, it's always pretty close. And so it doesn't really move move my parlay much. So I tend to not bother with it. Because I'd hate to, like, I'm going to pick this guy for a goal and that guy for a goal and the over. And if I get my goals and I don't get the over, like that feels like maybe the worst beat I could suffer. So I just tend to avoid it because, again, like if it's -110 or whatever it is, it just isn't going to bump my parlay up enough to make it worth the risk to me.
You're a parlay guy.
I'm a parlay guy, yeah.
DraftKings says 71% of the bets have been placed on the Sabres. You got a goal hunch?
I'm on Zucker to score first.
3-1? Or no, that's anytime. 18-1.
First goal, Zucker.
I had that in Boston.
Yeah.
Lost.
I've had it a couple times in this. I haven't bet on every game so far. The ones I have, I've had Zucker to score first. Mostly, it was my thinking was the power. We're worried about the power play. They're going to get an early power play, and he's going to score. And there it is. There's my first goal, and there's alleviating your concern about the power play, and I'm sort of back to that now. So, obviously if he doesn't get that, then I'm dead. But I've got that with a couple other things. Nothing crazy. Maybe a Benson goal and a Caulfield goal and the Sabres. -1.5.
Caulfield?
Sure.
How dare you?
Yeah, well.
Not Demidov?
I'm expecting them to score.
Are you?
Yeah. Hopefully not a lot, but
Radio's the Bulldog.
I think they will score
Expects
some.
Montreal.
They will score some
to
goals,
score.
I think.
Here's Frank next. Hello.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you for calling.
I just wanted to say, I agree with Bulldog. I think the team has the utmost confidence. We already got the world's heaviest jacket off our backs. I don't see any problem with us handling Montreal, except for the fact of what it's going to take. few injuries maybe, and like maybe a couple of players possibly getting suspended or something. That's the only thing I'm worried about is injuries. I think we have this in at least 7 games. I think it's going to go to the wire, and I think they're going to be very tired, and our next opponent is probably going to give us more of a challenge than anything just based off of what we've done so far. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Suspensions?
I don't know. The rest could be if this series goes long and Carolina steamrolls Philly. They play game 3 tomorrow and then game 4 on Saturday. Conceivably, like that is over. If they win those 2 games, it's over. And I'm not even to game. Where am I? I'm not even to game 3 yet.
So game 4 is Tuesday. If you had 2 sweeps, I think you could maybe see it start next Friday.
Right.
Which is still 6 days for Carolina.
Right. But if the Sabres go long, Carolina is sitting around for 10 days.
Well, you got to bet Philadelphia then, because the league won't want that.
Right.
Bet the refs. We had a little fun with some Sabres Canadians playoff trivia earlier today. Just among us guys here. I did this morning. Banged out a spreadsheet. All 7 series, Sabres and Canadians in points, goals and points. Here's a question, although this is not about Montreal. I like this question.
Okay.
Not about Montreal.
Why?
For once, I'm not making it about them. Most playoff points in history by a Sabre that was not on the 1975 team. So Gilbert Perreault leads Sabres history in playoff points by 50. Rick Martin is second with, I think, 52. And Gilbert is almost double that. So he has, the gap is almost the same as every other player in Sabres history, right? 102 points. Martin is 52. Who has the most as a Sabre in the playoffs by someone not on the 75 team?
My first guess is going to be Mike Foligno.
It's not Mike Foligno. How do we do here as a guess? Not bad. Let's see. He had... No, I can't find him.
He's here.
He had 24 playoff points.
All right.
The player who is the answer to this question had 38.
Okay. He's here a long time, but it was mostly one and dones. But he's here for that whole right. I mean, he's gone by the time they beat the Bruins in '93. I don't remember when he left.
So he's on the Sabres for 10 years.
Okay.
And he played in 39 playoff games.
Right. It's like 1 round a year, basically.
Pretty much. This player played in 61. Had 38 playoff points, most of any Sabre not on the 75 team.
Could it be Housley?
Nope. Housley is 27.
Then I'm going to guess Andreychuk next.
Andreychuk is second on this list with 36 in 54 games. They were teammates. More than once.
Ooh.
They were Sabre teammates more than once.
Is it Donald Audette?
It is Donald Audette.
Wow.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, wow.
All-time Sabre playoff points. Perreault 103 was off. Martin 53. Craig Ramsey 48. Gare 44. Robert 39. Audette 38. Luce, Andreychuk 36. Chatan 35. Three-way tie at 34. Howardchuk, Woolley, Briere. Briere got that done in 2 seasons.
Right.
And there are 3 new names in the top 100.
All right.
Thompson, Tuck, Krebs. Leading scorers from the first round, 7-7-6.
Krebs.
How about Krebs?
Get a load of Krebs. That's tremendous.
Krebs tied Larry Playfair for playoff points as a Sabre with 6. In 6 games. Sam Carrick, maybe not tonight.
I said well done.
Well done. So many great names on here from all over Sabres history. It's a tapestry, this list. It's the best. Not on the board yet, Sam Carrick. We'll see about tonight. Sounded like a long shot, but
Yep.
Paul will be on with us at 6 and give us the latest on that, if there is a latest. But encouraging news on him.
Right. We'll get to him here coming up after the break. Before that, I got to ask you,
Yes,
have you noticed a
let me
rattle in
sit
your
down.
ducts or a rise in your heating and cooling bills? If you do, give Belknap a ring. With 0% financing, the cost of upgrading to a high-efficiency dual-fuel heating system is a breeze. You can learn more at belknapheating.com. That's belknapheating.com. Go green, save energy and money with Belknap. Schedule a free estimate on your new installation. Give Belknap a ring at 688-1728. For more comfort and less ka-ching, give Belknap a ring. Right back with Sam Carrick after this on WGR. Folks, Bulldog here for Window Nation.
Pregame in 30 minutes as it is game day. The Buffalo Sabres will get their second-round matchup underway against the Montreal Canadiens. Again, pregame at 6, a 7 p.m. puck drop. And a note going forward in these playoffs, no more local television broadcasts. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, that'll be right here on WGR. You can sync up the radio call in the game on television by first downloading the Odyssey app. Find WGR, then just pause the game on your TV at puck drop and press play once you hear Dan and Rob with the face-off on the app. And then for TV purposes tonight, the game is on TNT and HBO. And then one lineup note for the Sabres. Lindy Ruff said earlier today Sam Carrick is a possibility to play after returning to practice earlier this week. Following the Sabres, there is just one other game tonight. It's at 9:30, Game 2 of Vegas-Anaheim, and the Golden Knights do lead that series 1-0. While in baseball, Bisons are on the road versus the Iron Pigs at 6:45. And in the majors, the Jays fall to Tampa 3-0. The Yankees host the Rangers just after 7 o'clock. And then at 9:20, the Mets are at Colorado. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
We're in hockey mode, but I did notice Warren Sharp today, and this is I get jealous because this is the kind of thing I feel like I should have been first to. The Bills last year on 2-point conversions were 2 for 9, the worst rate in the NFL in 26 years. Does that make any sense?
No.
No. And they never ran the ball on those plays. They were all passes. Designed passes. I want to get back to this.
Okay.
The offensive coordinator of that team is now the head coach.
Yeah.
Yes, Josh Allen. They couldn't score from the 2-yard line. Nine tries. They scored twice. 2-point conversions. Terrible. Worst rate in years. Decades. The Bills? Wow.
That seems notable.
I think it is. Also notable is that Sam Carrick is almost back. We have a lot of sound from the Sabres, including Lindy Ruff coming up early in the pregame show, as always. But we got Zack Benson earlier, and here is Paul Hamilton with Carrick.
Sam, it seemed like when that incident happened, you went awkward down. I mean, did you wind up breaking a bone there, or what happened with you?
Yeah, it was a bit of I would say a freak accident in a way. I will say, I didn't break any bones. It wasn't my shoulder, but just a freak accident. It's something that, I've been in lots of fights in my career, and it was the first time that's happened. So unfortunate at the timing, but it's been a good long road to get back to here.
Sam, take us through your thoughts on watching this team win a playoff series. A lot of guys have not been in the playoffs at all. What was your thought of just the way they reacted and, bounced through adversity and went through that series?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I wouldn't say that I'm surprised to see these guys, just for the time I've been here, just to see what kind of group we have here, how resilient and how close we are as a group. But, you never know with, not having any playoff experience for some guys. It can be a lot of pressure, but I think, from what I've seen so far, the guys have done an unbelievable job. Boston was a heavy team. They play a different style than we like to play, and I think we were able to overcome that and rise above it and really figured them out after a few games. So credit to the guys. It was stressful for me to watch, but they did a great job.
Sam, can you take us through your timeline? It seems like you're ahead of schedule. I mean, Lindy said the other day you probably wouldn't play in this series, and then, today you're on the ice. But can you just kind of take us through the timeline? Are you ahead of schedule, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. I think with this injury, it's not really a very common hockey injury, so it's really hard to say. We don't really have a lot of baseline to go off of. I was originally told, it could be 4 to 6 weeks. It could be 6 to 8 weeks. We don't know. So kind of had that 6 week as my, my goal. And, huge credit to our training staff here. Mike Adesso, working with him lots throughout the last 5 weeks. And Mike Ansel, he knows how to run a hell of a bag skate as well. So, our strength coaches as well. Everyone's kind of done a great job of just getting me to this point. So I'm thankful for them, and I feel good.
It seemed like you and Beck Mallenstein had instant chemistry on that fourth line. How would you describe the way you guys worked together and played together in those 13 games?
Yeah, I think we like to play pretty similar. I didn't know much about Mal coming into the team here. Obviously played against him a little bit. I knew he likes to run around, and you got to keep your head up when he's on the ice. So, I like that about him right away. I knew we'd get along good, and he's got a great hockey sense out there. Sometimes things just kind of gel good, and we were able to connect for a few goals, which is it helps the confidence for sure. But yeah, I think we just kind of play similar games. He could fly around, get in on the forecheck early, and I can play my game as a centerman where I'm trying to be in good spots for him. And I think as a whole, the guys that I've played with this year, no matter who comes in the fourth line. I think we've done a good job of just communicating and, knowing what's expected of us. And, we know what our role is pretty good here. So, it's been positive throughout my time here so far. So credit to them.
Sam, I got two questions for you. The first is when you're coming back from an injury and you don't know the timeline, how important is patience, and to listen to your body in the course of your recovery and return?
Yeah, it sucks being injured for sure. It's especially this time of year. You got the playoffs coming up, and you're so excited, and then you have this kind of thrown at you where you don't know how long it's going to take till you're back. So I think I did a pretty good job of just having a good mindset of all right, this is an opportunity to work on things that maybe I wouldn't be able to work on if I wasn't injured. Like my skating, my conditioning, all that, my strength in other areas that. All right, we got some time here. This could be a good thing. I can come back. When I do come back, I'll be feeling, the best I've felt, since training camp, really. So, yeah, it's obviously a long season. You want to be playing games, but, I think there's different mindsets you can have. And for me, it was a mindset of like, all right, this can be, look at the positives. And those things are, things that I can work on. That you usually don't get time to work on throughout the course of a season.
And when you do return to the lineup, what will you bring to this offense and to this team?
Yeah, I think of exactly what they brought me in here to do. They, some of the holes that they're trying to fill. Obviously face-offs is a big one. Being reliable defensively, being a hard-nosed fourth line to play against, and. Having said that, I think, the guys that have been playing, Kozak and Dunny have done an unbelievable job. And I think it's a good problem to have when you got guys that can come in and step up and play as well as they have. It gives your whole team a bunch of confidence. And, I give a ton of credit to them to come in and, do that job. And like I said, good problem to have. Now, if I do come in the lineup, I'm looking to bring what I've always brought. And, we'll see what happens.
Hey, Sam. You said that Boston plays a different style than you like to play. What's the style you like to play? How would you describe it, and how can you get to it against the Canadiens?
I think someone said river hockey is the style we like to play. But, no, it's Boston likes to slow things down. We all heard their coach's quote about how physical and tough they were or whatever. But, I think we like to play a fast game. We can match that physicality. We can match that toughness. When we have to, but we want to be on our toes at all times and not giving the team any space. Especially through the neutral zone, through the offensive zone and defensive zone. We want to want them to feel like they have no time out there. And part of that's playing fast with and without the puck. Coming into here, that was always the one thing I heard about this team is how fast we play. And now that I'm here, especially from the defense coming up, how involved our defense are. That's kind of been our identity, and I think it's a hard style of play to match.
Is there something about playing the Canadiens that makes you believe?
Well, I think Canadians play a different game. They're quick, they're fast. They play a lot like us in a lot of ways, and I don't think it really matters what style of team that they're playing. We can match anything. I think we have a lot of confidence in ourselves, and I think anytime, especially in playoffs, when you start worrying about too much what the other team's doing, that's when you can get into trouble. So, we're focused on our own group here, not letting any of the outside noise kind of get to us. And that's kind of, I think that's a good way to approach playoffs.
Sam, when you got here, you had 4 goals in 60 games with the Rangers. With Buffalo, you have 5 goals in 13 games. What allowed you to up your offense here with the Sabres?
It's a good question. I think, a lot of it's just good opportunity and taking advantage of some opportunity. I obviously don't want to, talk too much about the Rangers and what went on there. That's in the past. And, I think I would say that, I was put in a lot of really good situations to succeed here. And sometimes it's a little bit of puck luck. Sometimes it's just being at the right place, right time. And, when you start to get on a little bit of a roll and you start feeling good, then, the floodgates can open up a little bit. So you see that happen sometimes. You can get caught in a lull on the other side of it. But, yeah, I think just a lot of opportunity here that, we were able to take advantage of.
Sam Carrick, maybe not tonight, but soon. He has 10 games of playoff experience, Carrick, in his career, all for Edmonton 2 years ago. So he's been in the league 10 years. With a little bit of a break, actually, from the Leafs to the Ducks when he was younger. But only those 10 games of playoff experience for Edmonton back in 2024. He should be in line to get more games coming up. Paul Hamilton will join us in 20 minutes. We'll see what Paul thinks when that might start. Game 1, Sabres and Canadiens downtown tonight. Who has more fun than people? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, 803-0550. Quick minute for a phone call or two, maybe, when we return here on WGR.
Stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
The question on the tips of everyone's tongues, who else might move into the top 100 tonight in Sabres playoff scoring history? Now that Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, and Peyton Krebs have already done so. What about Bowen Byram, Bulldog? He's 1 point away from the threshold. 6 career playoff points. What about him? Dahlin is 2 away. He had 4 points in the first round.
Pick it up, Dahlin. Let's go.
Benson needs 3 to get to 6. And I know he's been doing well. This is not a criticism, but Alex Lyon, how about an outlet pass? I mean, just let's go here.
Outlet pass. Come on, hit the empty net.
He tries.
Yep.
He does think about scoring. Maybe Luukkonen too. But Lyon a few different times has struck me as like he's going for it.
Yep.
Connor Timmins, what's your excuse? I mean, let's get some numbers up here. Logan Stanley. 100 playoff points in Sabres history or not 100. Let me back up and try this properly. Gilbert Perreault has 103 playoff points in Sabres history, the most by 50 of all players. Peyton Krebs moved into the top 100 with his 6 in round 1, tying such legends as Keith Carney, Randy Burridge,
Stumpy,
Larry Playfair.
I shouldn't call him by that nickname, but that's what they called him, Burridge. Stumpy.
Did you ever know him? I didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
You knew Burridge?
Yeah.
From work?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never did.
Yeah, we had...
Is he Fort Erie?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had... It was memorable. I'll say it was memorable.
All right. Sounds good.
Appearance.
Sounds like good memorable.
With him. It was a golf tournament late in the day. It was my nighttime show. And
okay.
It was
did he swear like Ron MacLean?
I don't know if it was so much to swear. It was memorable. I'll just leave it. I'm going to leave it at that.
Now it doesn't seem as good as I thought originally.
I'm going to leave it at that.
2 others at 6 playoff points. Rhett Warrener and Teppo Numminen. That's your 6 club. The 6-timers. Like the 5-timers on SNL where they get those robes and the 5-time hosts. These are your 6 points.
I did a Rob Ray show from an end of season. It couldn't have been during the playoffs. It might have been in between regular season and playoffs, where they were all out at dinner, like a big team dinner. And Rob was on the phone for an hour with me, and at one point he started passing the phone around.
Yeah.
Now, this wasn't the Randy Burridge night, but it was similar. And I remember Dixon Ward getting on the phone at one point, and it was pretty evident that he'd had, some of whatever was being served, adult beverage wise. And you just could tell he was affected. And I just remember him saying, well, we're not going to get my show. How about Wardo's Edge? We got to go.
This is your show. Rob doesn't want to do it.
This is it. This is your chance.
He's passing the phone around. He doesn't want to do it. Right. At a party. He's obviously taking it that seriously.
Right.
Take advantage, Ward.
Wardo's Edge.
Rob, by the way, I liked my interactions with him.
Oh, I like Dixon Ward a lot. Yeah, I remember this fondly. Not like it was funny.
Mine were in the Amerks locker room after games.
Oh, all right.
And his eyes were just like big eyes, and he was like right into your questions. He was great to talk to. Rob, just on the outside of the 6 club with 5 playoff points, unless there's a comeback. Pre-game next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.